Bhagavatam 1-23 Sattvam rajastamaiti prakritir gunastair yuktah parah purusha ek ihasya datte sityadaye harivirinchi hareti samgyaha shreyam citra khalu sattvatano nrunam syuh. So after completing the description of the worship of the Supreme through bhakti, now the Bhagavatam moves on to discuss other forms of worship. So other forms of worship is that it means, yes, if bhakti is so potent, but then unto whom should bhakti be done? In the previous section, primarily the comparisons of bhakti to other processes, to jnana, to varnashram, to vairagya, to all those processes. But now the Bhagavatam will focus on, okay, bhakti is to be performed to whom? In the previous text it was said Vasudeva Bhagavati. So why to Vasudeva alone? Why not to others? That theme will be analyzed in the subsequent verse, in the ensuing verses here. Sattvam rajastamiti prakriter gunastair. Sattvarajatama, these are the gunas of prakriti. Yuktah para purusha ek ihasya dhakte. So there is a Paraha Purusha, there is one supreme person who is transcendental to this world. And this world, which is made of the three modes of which is comprised of three modes, that Paraha Purusha Dhatte, he manifests Sityade Hari Virinchi Hareti Sangya. So Sityadaye means for the process of creation, maintenance and destruction. Hari Virinchi Hareti Sangya, that same Lord that manifests as Hari, as Vishnu for Sthiti. Then there is Virinchi, Brahma for creation, Srishti, which is not mentioned, Adaya. Sthiti Adaya means it's included all of them over here. And Hareti, Hari is Vishnu, Hara is Shiva. Harihara is the name often used to refer to a combined manifestation of Shiva and Vishnu. So Hari Virinchiti Hareti Sangyaha. They are known Shreyamsi Tatra Khalu Sattvatano Drunamsu. So that's for the maintenance of this world, which comprises of three modes of material nature. The Paraha Purusha manifests in three forms, as Vishnu, Brahma and Shiva. And among these three, Shreyamsi, for attaining the ultimate gain, Tatra Khalu Sattvatano Nrunamsyuh. Tatra Khalu, certainly among these, Sattvatanor Nrunamsyuh. People should worship Sattvatanor, the form which is manifested in goodness, and that is referring to Vishnu. So there are many important points in this verse. Firstly, that there is a sense of oneness among the Devatas also, among the various. This is not a simplistic polytheism where there are different people who are different cosmic deities are warring against each other. No, there it is clearly mentioned that Paraha Purusha Ek Ihasti Datte, that one supreme person manifests in different forms. And so in the Chaitanya Charan as well as in the Bhagavatam, these manifestations have been called as the Guna Avataras. Sometimes if we focus excessively on the difference between the various manifestations, then we may not realize that ultimately they are manifestations of the same one God. Yes, there is difference among the manifestations also, but there is also a oneness. So the oneness is pointed out in terms of their source. They are all manifesting from that same one absolute truth. That one absolute truth manifests in these forms. Sityade Hari Virinchi Hareti Sangya. So that same Lord manifests. And now it's interesting that Sushti, Sthiti, Pralaya, these three are the activities which characterize the material existence. So Sushti, creation, is in passion, Sthiti, maintenance, is in goodness, and Pralaya, destruction, is in ignorance. Now among these three, normally if you want to make a list of three, Janmadyasyataha. So, Janma Adaya. So the first one is mentioned, and Adaya it is said. It should be understood, okay, remaining three. Remaining are whatever they are included. But here instead of the first, which we could say Srishti Adaya, it is not mentioned, it is Sityadaya. So the idea is that this verse is focusing on the Sattva manifestation as the most worshipable manifestation, and correspondingly maintenance is what is stressed, and the deity of maintenance is going to be stressed. So naturally, the activity of the deity of the maintenance is also being stressed over here. So Stityadaye Hari Virinchi Hareti Sangha. So the same deity manifests in different names and in different forms, and among these Shreyam, see, if one wants long-term good, there is Shreya and there is Preya. Preya is short-term good, Shreya is long-term good. So Sattvatanor, that form which is in goodness, that is what one should worship. So the oneness is acknowledged in their source, but the diversity is also acknowledged in terms of the fact that there is one particular object which is especially worshipable. It is not that any and every object should be worshipped, rather one particular object is to be worshipped. And now again, through another analytical framework, the relation between the various forms will be stressed over here. Parthiva daruno dhumas tasmad agnistrayimaya tamasastu rajas tasmat sattvam yad brahma darshanam. Parthiva daruno dhumas. So here is stated Parthivad. Parthivad means from earth. Daruno dhumas. That from the earth manifests actually from the earth manifests firewood. Parthiva is related with the Prithvi. So from earth, Daruna. Jagannath is called a Daru Brahma, the manifestation of Brahma through wood, in wood. So Daruna is wood. Dhumas. So from the earth manifests fire, from firewood manifests smoke, and Tasmad Agnistrayimayaha. And then from there manifests Agni, Trayimayaha. And with the Agni is vital for performing the rituals which are mentioned in the Vedas. So Trayi can refer to the first three Purushartha, Dharma, Artha, Kama, which require Agni primarily, or it can refer to the three Vedas. Evam Trayi Dharma Mano Prapanna. Krishna talks about Trayi Dharma, the threefold path of Dharma, which is talked about in three Vedas. So, Iksam Yajurevacha. So anyway, the fire is required for the performance of sacrifice. So now fire ultimately manifests from the earth through the stages of after going through the stages of firewood and smoke, but it is fire that is the most auspicious. When yajna is to be performed and the ahuti is to be carried to the devatas, we cannot just offer them earth or firewood or smoke. That same earth has to evolve through the stages of firewood and smoke to come to the level of fire, and then through the fire, the ahuti, the offerings, the oblations are conveyed to the higher beings, to devatas, and ultimately to the Supreme Lord. Devanam Paramo Vishnu Avmo Agnir Tadantar Sarva Devata. It is said that among the devatas, the topmost is Vishnu and the lowest is Agni. Lowest doesn't mean in terms of power, it means in terms of accessibility. So Agni is accessible to us, and to the extent we stay connected with him, to that extent we move onwards towards him and we attain him. So just as among these various manifestations, it is fire which needs to be offered, it is fire which is considered sanctified, and it is fire which is used in the process of yajna. Similarly, there are the manifestations in other modes also. So tamasas turajas tasmat sattvam yad brahma darshanam. So similarly, there is tamoguna and there is rajoguna, but our consciousness has to come to the level of sattva-guna, and then sattvat sanjayate jnanam, as the Bhagavad Gita says that in sattva-guna knowledge manifests. Sattvam yad brahma darshanam. So here it is said that yes, similarly in the mode of goodness, brahma darshanam, one starts realizing the absolute truth. So correspondingly, the implication will be that just as it is goodness, that just as fire is what is required for participation in the yajna, just as goodness is what is required for perceiving the absolute truth. Similarly, it is the deity which is a goodness that should be worshipped. So the Bhagavatam is continuing here the theme of which form is to be worshipped. Bhejire munayo athagre bhagvantam adhokshajam sattvam vishuddham kshemaya kalpante yen taniha. So bhejire munayo athagre. So therefore bhejire, I have rendered service the sages athagre in the past. Bhagvantam adhokshajam, unto that Lord who is adhokshaja, who is beyond a synthesis. Sattvam vishuddham kshemaya, one whose existence, sattva, is vishuddham, is transcendental, is completely pure, is having no contamination of any of the modes, even not the mode of goodness. Kshemaya. So Shreyamsi was mentioned a couple of verses ago, and now Kshemaya is mentioned. Kshemaya means for the purpose of well-being. Kalpante yen utaniha. Kalpante, they deserve to follow taniha in this material world. So it's the point of the verse is therefore the sages, the wise people have done this in the past, and that is what one should also do. That kalpante yetuna taniha. So those who follow them, so that the past great sages have worshipped the manifestation who is transcendental, who is supreme, Bhagvantam adhokshajam. And by worshipping one can, just as in the past sages have attained liberation, therefore one should also practice now in their footsteps, follow in their footsteps, and one will attain liberation thereof. One will attain perfection thereof. So the reasoning is given in the previous verses, and the conclusion is given here. That just as fire is what is used for worship, similarly it is sattva that is what leads to Brahma Darshanam. And therefore that supreme person who is beyond sattva, but we cannot access that person who is beyond sattva right now. So we still are at the material level of consciousness, so we should worship that manifestation which is in sattva. And that manifestation which is in sattva, Bhagvantam adhokshajam, the Lord is transcendental. When he manifests in sattva, we will be able to worship him and gradually attain transcendence. 26th text. Mumukshavo ghor rupan hitva bhutapatin atha narayana kalaha shanta bhajanti ya anasuyavaha. So mumukshavo ghor rupan, mumukshavo, those who desire liberation, ghor rupan, the fearsome forms, ghora, rupan, the forms which are quite fearsome, mumukshavo, those who are seeking liberation, hitva bhutapatinatha. Hitva, they put aside bhutapatin. Bhutapatin means they are the lords of people. Bhuta can refer to ghostly beings, bhuta can refer to living beings in general. So bhutapatin means those who are masters of some people. Atahitva, giving up those forms, Narayana kalaha shanta. So Narayana, the one who is the ultimate destination of the Nara, Narayana kalaha shanta. So the Ghora Rupan are contrasted with kalaha shanta, the forms of Narayana shanta, which is peaceful. Bhajantiya anasuyavaha, bhajantiya, they worship who are anasuyavaha, those who are non-envious. So the stress of this verse is that mumukshavo ghora rupan, that those who are seeking mukshava, liberation. So the verse starts with describing a quality and ends with describing a quality of the seekers. Mukshava, those aspiring for liberation, and anasuyava, those who are non-envious. Now, we cannot actually seek liberation as long as we are envious of others in material existence. Because there can be envy only when there is desire for something that someone else has, and desire for that thing that I should have it more than what they have. So, and as long as we have such desire, that means we are not seriously striving for liberation. If I am envious of others who have better house than me, better car than me, better pay than me, then my desires are caught in that competitive frenzy, and my desires are not freed from material existence, from matter and material things. Now, this does not mean that we have to renounce these things. Yes, we need financial security. We need home. We need some facilities, and working to acquire them and possessing them itself is not the cause of bondage. What causes bondage is the illusion that having them will make us happy, or having them more than what others have will make us happy. So possession is not the problem, disposition is the problem. The disposition towards the possession is the problem. To the extent our disposition is that, when I get this, I will become happy, or when I get something of this which is better than what others have, then I will become happy. That is what will cause the problem. But if you don't have the disposition of the illusion that having these things will make me happy, then we will not become bound. So moving further, so mukshava, those who are seeking liberation, anasuyava, those who are non-envious. So what do? Ghora rupa, those who they do not worship the ghastly form. So what does ghastly forms refer to? It can refer to the form of Kali, for example. Kali, she has a garland of skulls on her neck, and she sometimes is depicted as piercing a trident in the hearts of the demons. So such a form, especially having that being garlanded, and sometimes Kali is depicted in a very fierce way. She's even standing on the body of Shiva. So such depictions can be very alienating. In fact, when Western historians came to India, and when they saw, well, not Western historians, just Western people, when they came to India, and when they saw how there are temples of Kali, and Kali has such a ghastly form, they thought, what kind of worship is this? And actually, when they saw Krishna, and they saw Krishna playing a flute and Krishna stealing butter, they thought Kali and Krishna, these are such this is the same tradition, but there's such a wide diversity in the forms that are being worshipped in this tradition. Why is this difference there? What does it signify? Is it the same tradition, or are they different traditions? Actually, both are true. It's the same tradition at one broad level. At another level, there's so many differences that we could say it's a different tradition substantially. One tradition is meant for people who are meant to worship in Tamoguna. Another tradition is meant for those who are meant to worship in Sattva-guna. And in this way, the substantial difference between the two takes subjects to a much higher level for comprehension. It's not simplistic, that you can put everything under one rubric of Hinduism. The Bhagavatam itself talks about how serious seekers, they hitva bhutapatiniha. So they give up the worship of the ghastly forms, and Narayana Kalha Shanta. They start worshipping Narayana manifestations, which are peaceful, Kalha Shanta. Goes on, 27th text. Rajastamha prakrittayaha samashil bhajanti vai pitrabhut prajeshaadin Shriyaishwarya Prajepsavaha. So, Rajastamaha Prakrittayaha, those whose Prakriti, those whose modes, those whose mentality is of Rajatama Guna. Shamashila Bhajanti Vai. They will worship Samashila. They will worship the deities who are similarly disposed, who correspond with their mentality. Pitrabhut Prajeshadin. Pitrabhut Prajeshadin. So, Pitra is the forefathers, Bhuta, other living beings, Prajesh Adin. Praja Isha. Praja is people, population. Isha is the controller, Adin. Shriya Ishwarya Prajepsavaha. And the what Shriya is wealth. Aishwarya is affluence, power. Prajepsavaha. Prajepsavaha is they desire children. Ipsavaha, desiring. So, the Bhagavatam acknowledges the reality that our worship will correspond with our consciousness. And even if we understand that there are various levels of worship, it is not possible for people to suddenly give up one level of worship and to take up another level. Such transitions have to be done gradually. And for doing such transitions gradually, what is required is the recognition that there are different people with different mentalities, and they will have to evolve through those mentalities. So those who are at a particular level of consciousness, now we need to understand that there can be Rajoguna which is dharmic, and there can be Rajoguna which is adharmic. And of course, the highest, the best thing is to just go beyond Rajoguna to Sattva-guna, and even go beyond Sattva-guna to Shuddha Sattva. But that sort of evolution of consciousness will take time. And even if a person is in Rajoguna, moving from adharmic Rajoguna to dharmic Rajoguna is itself a progression. So what do we mean? We may wonder if Rajoguna is filled with uncontrollable desires, it's filled with cravings, then can Rajoguna be dharmic? Yes, dharma is also of various levels. And Kshatriyas, if we see, even if we consider the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, the Kshatriyas, their goal is Swarga. They are interested in increasing opulence. They spend in increasing their, spreading their boundaries, increasing their opulence. And we see that they, kings from various places come to some kingdom where a princess is to be offered in Swayamvar. So now all these activities show that they are interested in worldly things, whether in this world or in the next world. Then, still, why does the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, the Bhagavatam talk about them, and often talk about them not in at all in a negative, non-judgmental sense? Because they're doing all this dharmically. They have respect for Brahmanical culture. They perform yajna. They act more or less according to the Kshatriya codes of conduct. And in this way, although they have Rajoguna, they cannot give up Rajoguna, but even while having Rajoguna, that Rajoguna can be channeled according to Dharma. So the Dharmic Rajoguna is definitely better than Adharmic Rajoguna. And so we cannot condemn all Rajoguna as bad. Of course, from the transcendental point of view, Rajoguna is undesirable, but even in Rajoguna there is a huge difference between that which is dharmic and that which is adharmic. The adharmic Rajoguna will lead to chaos, and dharmic Rajoguna will at least maintain some level of order in society. Because people, despite having their desires, are restrained to some extent in their desires by dharma. So the Bhakti worldview is not just about Bhakti. Yes, Bhakti is the culmination, but the Vedic worldview is inclusive, and it includes, accommodates, and facilitates the gradual elevation of those people who are not yet ready to pursue transcendence. And it does so by accommodating them within the broad framework of the Vedic worldview. So here it is said, Samashila bhajanti vai, Samashila, that they will worship those who are of a similar disposition, similar mentality. Bhajanti vai. Certainly they will worship accordingly. So those who are in Rajoguna, when they hear about, say, how Indra is residing in opulence and is enjoying prosperity in heavens, they feel attracted. This is because these are their desires. So, Pitra Bhuta Prajeshadin. So, those who are the lords of Praja. So, those who are Rajasic, they want followers, they want adulation, they need to be honored by others. But one can seek honor by doing honorable things which, as I say, which command respect, or one can become a dictator whom people detest but externally show respect because of fear. That choice we all have, how we want to be, how we want to relate with others. Dharma, when there is a culture of dharma, then people act honorably, and through such honorable actions they attract people's respect. So Shri Aishwarya Prajepsavaha. So here they desire Shri, they desire opulence, they desire wealth, they desire beauty, they desire children. Now, children, of course, means that they also desire sexual pleasure. So all this they desire because they want to move onwards in their journey towards material prosperity. And the Vedic culture accommodates that. So, Samashila bhajanti vai, Samashila. So, those who are of a similar disposition, those who are Rajasic, they will adopt those forms of worship which correspond with their mentality, which facilitate their accomplishment of Rajasic goals. And thus, they will be accommodated in the house of Dharma, and gradually they will become elevated. This will take time. Krishna talks about in the Bhagavad Gita how this is a very gradual process. He talks about 9.20 and 21 how Trividyamam somapaput papa yajnairištva swargatim prarthayante te punyamasadya surendra lokam Ashnanti divyan divideva bhogan te tam bhuktva sargalokam vishalam Kshine punne martyalokam vishanti evam traidharmo anuprapanna gatagatam kama kama labhante. So he says that they worship and they swargatim prarthayante, they want swarga, of course they want the heavenly pleasures. Ashnanti divyan divideva bhogan, and they actually get and enjoy divideva bhogan, celestial delights which are enjoyed by those who are in heaven. But then kshine punne martilokam vishanti, when their punya gets over, they fall back to the earth. So here this is a very inclusive statement where the Bhagavatam is talking not only about the worship of the devatas. Here it is saying Pitra Bhuta Prajeshadin. So Prajesha is the word which the Bhagavatam is using for the devatas. Pitra is the ancestors, and Bhuta is a generic word to use for other living beings. So we see in this world that people kowtow to the influential so that they can get something done. There are politicians who have their flatterers, sycophants, the chamchas as they say, who are ready to do whatever these politicians tell so that the politicians will give them what they want. So we could see the Bhagavatam's vision as explaining the religious worldview and also as extending beyond the religious worldview. So where there is worship of the devatas and there is worship of others who are not devatas exactly, but who can offer things similar to what the devatas can offer. Others, for example, in India, people sometimes worship cricketers. Some famous cricketer may be called as if God. What is the idea? That people are interested in sense gratification, and if the devatas can offer sense gratification, they will worship the devatas. If a cricketer can offer sense gratification, then they will consider the cricketer as if he is God. And this way, when we understand this, samashila bhajanti, when we understand this principle that people worship according to their mentality, then what people worship reflects not just what the teachings of their scripture are, it reflects what the consciousness of those people is. So when people are rajasic, they will find, rajasic or tamasic, they will find forms of worship which are compatible. Now, of course, if somebody is worshipping the devata, somebody is worshipping a cricketer, there's no benefit in that. If somebody is worshipping the devata, at least there is some adherence to scripture at some generic level, and there will be some elevation by that. But wise people who are mukshava, who are anasuyavas, as mentioned in the previous text, they do not worship such forms. They worship the sattva form. The Purusha, the Parama Purusha is manifest in the sattva form as Vishnu. We'll continue this discussion in future talks.